Sides who shone in Division 4 in the Football League and carried their form through to the Championship. It's Carlow versus Laois with commentary from Sean Perry.
This is the third meeting of these sides in 12 weeks. Laois, of course, won both previous league encounters. Goalkeeper Graham Brodie is likely to have a key part. In front of him are the powerful Mark Timmins at 3 and All-Ireland minor winner in 03 and ex-AFL player Colin Begley. While Niall Dunner's 2 points off the bench in the quarter-final win over Westmeath see him earn a starting spot today. Will the Carlow Rising continue here in Croke Park today? This team has a very familiar look to it. There have been no changes in personnel from the side which started against Kildare in that famous quarter-final win. But so much depends on the deadly accurate Paul Broderick, who has kicked a healthy 119 in his 2 championship outings this season. Sun beaming down on Croke Park for this, the first of 2 Leinster semi-finals in headquarters today. Munnelly working ever so hard. To Farrell now. Heading for the corner flag with Kieran Moran doing his defensive job well. Inside comes Trevor Collins right on the end line. Dangerous one across. Donny Kingston's on the end of it. He's well capable of engineering something from here. He's going to have his own shot. Kingston round the outside. Clever use of the right peg. And Donny Kingston opens his account here in this Leinster football semi-final with a delightful point, and one which really meets with the favour of the Laois faithful. Carlow still looking for that opening score as they raid in hope once more. Ambitious effort from away out on the wing. It has, however, met with the approval of the umpires, and Carlow flags are raised in the air for the first time this afternoon. It's a lovely kick from Diarmuid Walsh, the man who incidentally has probably benefited most from the departure of Brendan Murphy, with Owen Ruth going to centre field, and there's just why. Carlow in no mood for lying down here today. History beckons. With a population of just over 55,000, huge support in Croke Park. Murphy sets off. He brings the supporters to life. He's powerful, big and strong. On this occasion, Laois have a plan for him and a great dispossession, with O'Loughlin available to release back to goalkeeper Graham Brodie, who's always anxious like a caged lion to get out of goal. He's taken down there. But play continues at the other end with Begley to Lillis. Lillis back inside to Begley. Begley's cut around the cover. Will he play it inside? Will he go for his own shot? Colin Begley with his eye in. Really fine effort, and that's a classic counter-attack. At one end, Sean Murphy had tried to barrel through. Here's why Begley was so highly regarded by both the Brisbane Lions and St Kilda. Great distance in the kick from Brodie. Super fetch from John O'Loughlin. His captain providing support, and now it's opened up a little bit inside for Paul Kingston. Giving it to Munnelly. He's available again. But instead, Alan Farrell is the preferred option. Farrell takes the shot. Farrell helps himself to a point. A really good one at that. All came from the fetch in the middle of the park from O'Loughlin. Robbie Malloy looking for Gannon. Oh, Gannon bats it cleverly down in a real training ground move. This is good. Broderick inside as they look to get him going. Also available there, Diarmuid Walsh. Carlow man felled off the ball as Dara O'Brien gets on the ball now. O'Brien fancies himself, backs himself, kicks from distance and converts. Really good effort from the full forward from Éire Hogue. Just what the doctor ordered. Stole a little bit of space off his marker, kicked stylishly with the left peg and fired it just inside the far upright. Ruth with a long probing ball inside. Diarmuid Walsh, wonderful take. Turns Damien O'Connor. There's a real chance here. He stumbles. The chance, kicking it along the ground. It doesn't work out. Oh, real chance of a goal there. Dara Foley goes down on this, but Laois have bodies back. Carlow create their best goal chance of the contest, but they don't convert. Boos ringing out around the ground, but I don't think that the Carlow support can complain about any decision that was or wasn't given. Turlough O'Brien's very animated down in front of us. Kingston back to O'Loughlin. Carlow really working ever so hard in the heat to keep Laois at bay as Lillis plays a 1-2. Useful ball inside. Half chance here now if the conversion can be administered. It is indeed, it's a useful one. Brian Glynn opening his account. The Port Laois man clipping that one over with no small amount of accuracy. Giving it to Kieran Moran. Well, Carlow's two wing backs have showed a huge appetite to get forward. Here's their full back, Redmond. That's a really clever pass to Paul Broderick. What can Broderick do? Trying to get round Garrett Dillon, can't get round him, instead ups to shoot, and with his left peg he delivers a really fine point. His fourth of the afternoon, his first from open play, just what the doctor ordered, and Carlow are back to within a point. Laois content just to keep the ball and wait for that opportunity. They've a line of players outside the Carlow 45, while Carlow have everybody bar Dara Foley back in defence. Donnelly runs direct. Donnelly fancies the shot. Donnelly kicks goalward, and that raises a white flag, and many blue and white flags behind the goal, because that's a fine effort from the centre half forward from Courtwood. Moran once more. And still Moran. This is a great run from the wing half back. Can it result in a score? They're releasing players everywhere. Redmond, the full back, has come forward. Redmond, was he pulled down? Protests once more, but it seemed as if Redmond almost fell over himself. Certainly a talking point. An opportunity here now. As we're told, there'll be 4 additional minutes. This is good. O'Loughlin getting forward. Kingston opted to retain it. Gives it inside now to O'Loughlin. It's opened up. He fires it goalwards, drilling it between the posts. And John O'Loughlin capping a strong display in the centre of the field. The powerfully built midfielder with his first of the afternoon. And setting off is Evan O'Carroll. Cutting down inside. This is a strong run. He fancies a score. He gets a score. And that's a great end to a very difficult week for this young man. Evan O'Carroll, rightly he celebrates, because he's kicked the last score of the game as Laois celebrate in a very fine victory, and rightly their supporters and players might celebrate. They're back in the provincial showpiece for the first time in 11 years. It's finished on a final scoreline of Laois 12 points, Carlow 8.
Yeah, satisfied to get over the line. I mean, Carlow have set their stall out to play the way they do. They're difficult opposition for anyone, and lots of teams around the country can testify to that. You know, we did our homework reasonably well, I thought, to some degree, and we just about scrope it.
Bitterly disappointed with the result. I think we failed to convert 4 or 5 goal chances that we had. I think one of those goal chances might have turned the course of the game, or even if we got a point off it, maybe, you know, we were back to a point twice, I think, and we didn't pull the trigger, and Laois got off the hook, I think.
We've got to keep grounded. We know where we started out this year, and we know where we want to try to get to a great degree. So we won't lose sight of the past too soon.
Yeah, the Carlow dream ends, but Pat, you felt it was a deserved win for Laois.
I think it was, you know, but like, in fairness, look, it was great to see 2 Division 4 teams get into a provincial semi-final. It was great to be driving up this morning and just literally hundreds of Carlow cars and Carlow flags. I mean, what that appearance in Croke Park would have done for football in the county will be absolutely brilliant. At the end of the day, yes, even though they struggled to put away Carlow were there hanging on to the very end, but at the end of the day, the difference between the 2 teams, Laois had more of a scoring threat. They scored 8 points from play. Carlow scored 3 points from play. I thought they had more creativity, more better scorers up front. Laois the better team, and Laois probably better equipped to take on the Dubs in the final. But overall, Des, to be brutally honest about it, it was 2 Division 4 teams. The standard was very poor.
Okay, but in fairness to Laois, Pat, you're giving credit that their attack was scoring from play. Kieran, you were very impressed with their defence.
Yeah, well, certainly I thought their full back line was excellent. I thought Mark Timmins, Garrett Dillon and Stephen Artroyd were brilliant. But Timmins was a terror at the edge of the square. We can see here Carlow trying to play on the counter-attack. He comes out, breaks out, intercepts a ball straight away. Here we get Sean Murphy going down the line, and he was always going to be a danger man. Finbar Crowley had a great game on him, kept him quiet all day, but Timmins comes across again, and if the great tackle then gets a hand in, and Laois are on the attack. Here's a ball in, probably lucky not to give away a free here, could possibly be a free, but he sees where the left foot is, he goes down to block the ball, forces the opponent to go to the ground, and then a great block out, and Laois come out with it again. Here we have a great block from Garrett Dillon. Ball comes across. That's just super. One-on-one stuff. And again, Laois are on the attack. Ball coming in behind, shows great speed, gets out in front. Again, Laois are on the foot front. So all round great performance. Again, Mark Timmins here, you can see, gets a great near-hand tackle in. Dispossesses the ball becomes loose and gets just a foot in, simple little touch, and Laois are breaking out. So I thought while Carlow came with a structure, Laois had to break them down. It was never going to be pretty in terms of a spectacle, but I thought Laois defensively, because they were a little bit more exposed in one-on-one situations, they done very well back there.
Yeah, those clips are interesting, Pat, because they illustrate also a point you were making, that Carlow, because of their pack defence, when they were breaking, sometimes you felt they didn't have enough options.
Well, we know what Carlow brings to the table. We know their template, and Laois had the similar game plan today, where they retreated bodies back en masse. Now, the key in counter-attacking, however, is that you must counter-attack at pace. But this is what Carlow didn't do today. Here we have Laois retreating back, but Carlow, in this instance, there's 5 passes, 4 of them go backwards. It's slow, it's ponderous, it's lateral, and it allows Laois set up defensively. So they weren't asking questions of the Laois defence. Again, now watch this. This is a run from Sean Murphy. But when he runs through the middle, there's no real support runners. There's no outlet ball. He's running into 3 or 4 Laois players, a turnover, and Laois are on the attack. You can see again when they get the ball as regards the difficulty in counter-attacking teams, because there's no outlet ball, there's no one up front. We highlighted here in this instance, there's only one Laois player inside in the
Carlow player,
Carlow player, and here's his back turned to them. And here, this is the failure of this system. A blanket defence is set up to sit back. That's fine when you're winning, but when you have to chase a game, you must change. And in this instance, there's a few minutes to go. Laois are 3 points up, and Carlow are sitting back, allowing Laois to play the ball around and run the clock down. So what Turlough O'Brien has done with Carlow is brilliant. He's devised a brilliant attacking plan himself. It's a counter-attacking. But now, if they want to move on to the next level, you must have a balance. You must have an attacking element to that defensive plan. The stats from today's game are horrendous. They had 13, Carlow in the entire game had 13 shots at goal from play. 13, that's desperate, and 3 points from play.
Well, to follow that point on, Kieran, so if Carlow had so many men back, how come Laois were successful in breaking it down?
They had to be extremely patient. Yeah. Carlow are organised. All year they've played to a structure, so they're comfortable in doing what they do. And they nearly play with nearly 4 lines of 4. So what that means, if you do break one gain line, you get someone on the shoulder, there's another line waiting to meet you. And it makes it very difficult. Laois like to kick the ball. Yeah. And they've kicked the ball very well, long ball, direct ball in the last 2 matches. Today they had to stay patient. They couldn't breach that line. They were going to get turned over by Carlow. And Carlow's organised, and it works. It's effective. So they stopped Laois doing what they wanted to do. Another perfect example of it. But what Laois had to do was had to get at them when they're out of position, Des, when they don't have that structure in place. If it came off a long kick out, they had to live off scraps, whether it was freeze or get an opportunity. Here, Stephen Arkwright comes forward, and you can see the Carlow lads are in retreat. They're out of that position, they're out of that structure. The ball goes in, it's quick hands, one lead over to Alan Farrell, and a good score. So these were opportunities Laois had to take. Another example, see, counter-attack. When you turn them over, again, you have 3 or 4 Carlow men out of position. Laois have to come forward here. Colin Begley comes through. He's having a super championship for Laois. And again, it's quick. It's go forward ball. Kieran Lillis into Mark Begley and over the bar. So from a Laois perspective, they knew they had to grind it down, they had to take those opportunities, and they had to take their free opportunities as well. Donny Kingston had a bit of a mixed bag, but he got a few in the crucial ones in the second half.
8 points from play, 8 different scores. But can we just make mention of Evan O'Carroll, who buried his father this week, came on as a sub today and scored the final point for Laois. It was, a remarkable courage.
It's similar, Des, to what Fermanagh were doing last week. They were trying to stay in the game, hope to nick a goal, keep it tight, but Carlow were lacking going forward, and that's the dynamic of their game.
At the end of the day, despite every change and the evolution of the game, the teams that win the game is the team that outscores the opposition. So less emphasis on defence, but let's put a bit more emphasis on attack, and let's have a bit more creativity and a bit more attacking plans.
All right then, and Laois's good season continues. Well, the second